What is up, y'all? We're here for our weekly manifestation oracle message. Let's see what we need to know for the week ahead. The dream walker dreams the collective good illusions. This is interesting because I remember my dream from last night, and it was one of those things where it didn't seem like the aspects meant anything or related, but then when you kind of take a minute to unpack, think about the first thing that those symbols bring to mind. For instance, the person in my dream took me to Blockbuster Video for like a summertime date. And this person, I knew from work, and he is not anybody that I'm dating. I think he has a girlfriend and he's way younger. And but in the dream, he took me to Blockbuster Video, the video store. And so I thought that was interesting because the thing that I would associate most with this person is that he got a really great remote job from home. And it just seems like a really great opportunity, a really great employer. And we all just were like, oh man, he got such a sweet setup. And so the thing that I associate with him is, somebody who's a go-getter who was able to successfully get an opportunity working remotely from home. And he took me to a video store. And so I just was telling you guys recently, right? I opened the TikTok account my goal is to become a TikTok shop affiliate, which is basically a video store. You make videos about things that you like, and you are the people that are in those commercials that you see in social media. And that's how I end up getting a lot of things that I really like. And in that way, I like target marketing much better than just getting bombarded with whatever on TV commercials. I prefer it to when, if they're going to be there, I'd prefer that, right? So I just think that's interesting when that's just a pretty simple example of how you can kind of unpack a dream. And then Blockbuster, when we're summer Blockbuster, it's it kind of brings to mind big budget, big money, big classic, successful movie, right? It's a hit. It's a hit film. It's very profitable. So I just thought that was a really positive dream that wouldn't make sense at first. But when you stop to think about the first associative thing that comes to mind when you consider each symbol in an isolated way, it starts to make sense. So you might be getting guidance. We're in this portal of the Leo eclipse season. So you might be getting guidance to show you next steps, or to guide you, or to inspire you, right? Or to hold the torch for you, so to speak, so you can take the right actions. The wise woman of the Wonderland, integrity and compromise. So again, you following on the same manifestation example of the TikTok shop. I didn't want to be the kind of person, I wanted to get into digital marketing, for instance, and I've wanted to in some aspect for a long time. But if you work in a traditional sense, then someone above you tells you this is the account that you're going to want to get you're going to want to land this client, and this is the one we're going after. And you really don't have a lot of autonomy or say in the brands that you're working with. Even in an agency, a talent agency or a management agency, they're going to want to push you to work with certain people, and it's going to take a lot of courage and integrity to maybe stay authentic to the self. That's why I think it's really a unique opportunity to be able to own your own autonomy like that. It's always been something that I've appreciated about social media, is that if you're a person who wants to create and be an artist or creative or be a voice, you aren't influenced by a producer and people who are funding the thing, telling you what to do. That might be more of the case with a podcast that has a sponsor, right? But when you are doing something like this, it gives you freedom to honor your integrity because you're choosing the things that you are selling. Now, I'm not telling you how to do this. I'm just saying this, I'm just using this as an example of how I would apply integrity and compromise to my goals. I'm not going to compromise myself or my values, but maybe this isn't the job that I had in mind that I thought I was gonna, make my money this way, but I can compromise using my skills in a productive and positive way that helps others, right? See what I'm saying? So whatever you do, whatever you are going, whatever you're putting your hands to, make sure that you are flexible and versatile for the changing times. Everything is changing very rapidly, but don't compromise yourself. Never approach something out of the thinking that you're so desperate that you have to do something beyond your integrity to make ends meet, because you don't. Because that's one thing that the Monday's message was all about. It was about being having honesty and integrity, and approaching your creations and actions in daily life in the form of a pilgrimage with like a sense of sacredness and devotion, and not getting caught up in how the opponent or the ego can get in there and infect things with that venom, right? With that poison. So, wise woman of the Wonderland, let your inner spirit's wisdom guide you. Ooh, here we go. Ooh, Winged Wise Ones. I love this. This has been a common friend since we started with this deck. Angelic help and miraculous aid. So not only are you listening to your inner spirit, your angels and heavenly helpers are trying to send you guidance and help as well. And then you may have an opportunity to get help from, in a material way, like either from like-minded people that can offer you a solution, or somebody might know somebody, or like for instance, in my situation, I just decided that I followed these signs that kind of led me to this discovery of this group, and it was all aligning in the same moments where I was thinking about doing something like this, and some other couple of people were thinking about doing something like this, and we hadn't talked about it yet. It was like after the fact, all these confirmations started coming in, and I was like, this might be something worth joining and taking the risk, right? And so I joined kind of like a group, or I don't know what you'd say. It's not exactly an agency or whatever, but we're in these times where like industries are starting to become like born faster than you can like have language for them. But anyway, so maybe you join some kind of, like if you're a realtor, right, you join an agency, a real estate group. If if you're getting into advertising, you might go into a firm or something like that. It just depends, but groups, group connection, group support. There might be like a local study group, or like common interest groups, things like that. Rainbow Prince, compensation and perseverance. This is really bringing to mind the Kabbalistic lesson that when we put effort into our life and we take risks and we go out on a limb and we follow our divine guidance and we do our best to align with the Creator's plan, we are revealing light in like a spiritual bank account. And even though the physical vessels might seem to our eyes to crumble, to fail, they are checkpoints along the way that build the skills and the moral fiber and the perseverance and the knowledge and the muscles to be able to be a vessel that can contain the ultimate form, the ultimate fulfillment. So as long as, things begin and end and whatnot, but if we don't become discouraged, what happens is that even though the vessel is broken open and it might decay, like the growing season, right? The crops, they bloom, they come to a fruition, they come to their fullness. That's it. They end, they decay, and then the decay and the seeds go back into the soil and they grow again. They grow something new, a new crop. So right now, so when something falls apart and when you are thinking like, oh no, this came to an end or it failed or whatever, it's fine to mourn and grieve that, but don't get discouraged and don't give up on yourself, because what happens is if you can maintain your faith and your certainty that the Creator has a plan and this is just another step in that plan, then all that light goes back up and stored in your spiritual bank account, and it waits to be transferred. It's like rollover minutes. I don't know if you guys remember that, when there wasn't such thing as an unlimited plan. You might have rollover minutes, the ones that you didn't use that go to your next month. So that gets stored in your spiritual bank account and it grows interest, right? Whereas if you get discouraged and you fall into despair and you're like, you throw in the towel and you give up, then that light is spilled out, and it's a lot harder to get it back because you have to go through the process of earning it again to put it back into the spiritual bank account. Whereas if you can just keep your heart strong and keep your courage and keep, bouncing back, be plucky and believe and keep trying and keep improving and keep, yearning more to have clarity and a clearer connection with the Creator, then those things, those prayers, those requests are answered. All right, you guys, that is all for today. We will be back together tomorrow for our weekly alchemy message, where we take our spiritual lessons from the week and we unpack our approach to the work. All right, until tomorrow, may peace be with you. Ciao.